What's up? Why are you smiling?
Because I think we're live. Let me stop.
I thought.
I think we are live. Look, everybody, I'm not here by myself this Thursday. Do you all know who this lady is? This awesome person. I got to say what's up to everybody, all of the viewers. You guys were a little delayed, but that was on me. My viewers know when it comes to technology, that's not my bag, Ree.
It's okay. It's okay. Wish my laptop. We could have made this much. My laptop.
Ain't my bag, honey. No way, indeed. So listen, everybody. This is your girl CWall. It is Thursday, coaching from the couch day, and I'm here with my girl, fellow Redskins media, Rhiannon Walker from The Athletic.
Hi,
Ree, it's been so long. I haven't seen you. We haven't seen each other. How would we see each other though?
Last time we saw each other was that Lakes thing in the mall.
Yep, we saw each other at Lakes event in the mall.
Nice.
You're right.
I know.
Your memory is better than mine.
I scare people with my memory, so sometimes I actually try to pretend like I don't remember things for people's sake, believe it or not.
Listen, some of the dopest DC sports fans, specifically Redskins fans, are joining us online.
Mm-hmm.
They're commenting. My girl Joy, Mazdak, Russ, Eric. It's a bunch of people. Cameron. Okay. So I would just want to, of course, thank you for doing this, of course, even though you were like, why are you thanking me? Why are you doing all this?
Yeah, it's nothing. You know, I'll do anything for you, so I don't. You're welcome.
That's my girl. Do anything for me, and vice versa, because we tight like that. So that's cool. That's good. Exactly. Let them know. We like this.
Gotta let them know. Got that emoji on deck. Like
this is legit, my girl, y'all. Like seriously.
No games. Facts. 10 toes down.
All the time. And we just met last year, probably at Redskins OTAs, and we just clicked.
Yeah.
Immediately. It was
the year before, but we really started talking.
Maybe it was the year before. See, my memory is bad. I'm doing bad today, Ree.
Okay, I barely remember today is Thursday. So, I mean, if it makes you better, I thought the 17th Friday, like it's not Juneteenth, and I should really have that one committed to memory right now. I do, for those who are listening, I do have Juneteenth memorized. But no, it was 2018 we met each other, and we really started talking during OTAs. We more time on the sideline, like we weren't actually like in the annex working, because I came in late in 2018, and then training camp, off talking.
That is true. You did come late in 2018, and I was like, "Ooh, new girl at school. Hey." Hey, friend.
Hi, what's going on? And all that positive that you had. You and Donna, Sherry, like, wow, we had a good group of people.
We had a crew.
Little crew.
Kareem.
Right. We were functioning. So I still have the picture from last year we took when we were at the game, the first preseason game.
Yeah.
When I stuck everything.
Yeah, we had a ball. We used to have a lot of fun. You know, everyone knows covering the Redskins is difficult. It's hard. But it's folks like you that make it so worthwhile and so much fun, right? Like, we all get through it together. No, we're not out there in pads, but, you know.
But we have fun. I mean, our group of friends, like, the people that we mentioned, and even the broader team, one of the things made my life easier coming into this job, this is my first professional beat, is the fact that there are media spaces where people are not particularly friendly. They're competitive in a negative way. Mm-hmm. We're all very competitive on this beat, obviously, but not in a way where we would harm somebody else, not in a way where we're rude to other people that are in the annex. Like, we never had that issue. And then the crew that we were discussing, I mean, we joke and we have a good time. Like, when we're in the press box and we're eating food and everything else like that, we definitely cut up.
Mm-hmm.
We're serious. We're very serious. And shoot, we had Tony when we were doing it as well too. I mean, it's a good group of people. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We became a family, whether we realize it or not. But it's like we see each other all throughout the week. It's family time. It's cool. Like you said, it's very serious. but we have all definitely built a bond for sure.
Without question.
And, yep, for sure. Now, I definitely got to get into just overall who you are. So everybody, if you don't know, Rhiannon is a Prince George's County native.
I am Pretty Girl County.
Yes. Okay, so y'all already know we had that already on lock. Are you from PG?
You from Prince George's County?
We best friends.
Best friends? Yup.
Yep. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself so that the viewers can know who you are.
Candy, you know, this is one of the hard things for me.
I know it is hard for you. You told me that before, but
yeah. Is there something they want to know in particular? I don't want to talk about.
You did say this was your first professional beat, and let's start getting questions in. We know we got the 85 South Redskins fan club. They always popping, and we got some more of the Redskins fans. Y'all have any specific questions about Rhiannon? But I would like to see if you'd like to answer the question of just how you got started in the business. What made you want to go into journalism?
Okay, I can answer that. That's easy.
Yep.
So I was just talking about this today with my mom, actually. So my first internship was when I was in high school. I did 2 weeks where I was at USA Today. I went to a high school called St. Stephen St. Agnes High School. It's in Alexandria, Virginia. And my mom, if you think I'm a talker, my mom is a talker. We're at one of my basketball games, and she was talking to one of the other parents, and just so happened to be the wife of someone who worked at USA Today Sports. When at my high school, we had a senior thesis where basically to do 2 weeks of something we thought we wanted to do for our career. So at that point, I had gotten off of the architecture train because I'm not good at calculus and not particularly good at, physics? Physics, I think it is. Yeah, those two would have whooped me up in school, but I was very good at writing. I was in an English Honor Society, pretty good at talking, pretty good at getting people to talk to me and tell me about themselves. So I thought maybe what can I do that would involve writing and something else I'm interested in, like sports, because I wasn't going to go to college to play sports. That wasn't my reality, but I still wanted to be around it. That was that. And so then I went to Maryland. I did 9 internships while I was there. I had a ton of help from the National Association of Black Journalists members. Several of the founders actually went to Maryland, and I'm very close to a number of them. I did 3 jobs in colleges in addition to the 9 internships. And my first job out of college was working at ESPN's The Undefeated, the website section of race, sports, and culture, which was cool for me because my minor is in history and women's studies. My major is in broadcast journalism. So I combined these things that I was really, really interested in, spent 2.5 years there, moved over to The Athletic. I wanted to continue to stay in DC. I wanted to try something different. I spent so much time at The Undefeated writing features. I love writing features. I love talking to people. I love long form writing. I enjoy it. You know how I am when we're in the annex.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I wanted people to be comfortable sharing things about themselves that are intimate and that they don't necessarily tell other people, and to use the people skills that I had developed over the course of my life to achieve that. And not in a way of like, you give me your story and then I just go and use it, but more so, I mean, you've seen me in the locker room too. I don't know how many times you've seen me just sitting there talking. I'm not recording conversations. We're people. I'm 27 and I'm in a locker room full of a bunch of people that look just like me. And to be blunt, considering the current state of things, I'm a 27-year-old Black woman who's in a locker room full of a bunch of players that are in their mid-20s and are primarily Black as well too. We have interests. We end up in the same places when we're going out. We watch a lot of the same things. The conversations that I'm having with these people are very genuine, in fact. So it's not, again, trying to fake it till I make it. That's just not me. If I can't vibe with you, if you don't feel comfortable with me, then it's okay. It's no problem. But for the people that do, we have those stories. And it's not just them sharing stuff with me, it's vice versa as well. I talked about this, I think I was on a radio show. I was on Team 980. And I said, I did a story about Steven Sims when he had his multi-touchdown game against the Giants last year. His grandfather had died that week. One of the reasons that story worked, one of the reasons I even felt comfortable talking to him is because I think you might remember my grandmother died last December.
Yep.
So we had this mutual thing that we both could relate to and that we understood simultaneously. And when I first approached him, that was one of the first things I said to him is, I'm so sorry. He was people that approached me and told me he was sorry about my grandmother dying because, again, as you know, I cried in the locker room one day because of a song that reminded me of her. Mm-hmm. So the whole point of everything I've done at this point, I care about writing. I care about people a lot. I'm a huge empath. I want to tell people stories. I get tired of seeing the stories about the players that the pros are their only means of coming out of poverty, or they're like first generation. This is first time millionaires. I'm sensitive to it because I am a Black person, and I do always see those stories. And I think to myself, there's so much more to those people than the fact that they're just a first generation college student who got a lot of money, or they just got their whole family out of poverty, or their family wasn't well educated and all that stuff like that. I think that we can be a little bit more, what's the word I want, critical in our writing of these guys, give them more depth than what I had previously seen. So using my personal experiences to have those conversations with these guys and to talk about those kinds of stories. That's pretty much me in a nutshell on what I've done, how I got into the industry and everything else like that.
Yes, and if you all are just tuning in, this is Coaching from the Couch. I'm CWall here with sports journalist Rhiannon Walker of The Athletic. And Rhiannon, everything you just said, I stamp already. It is so hard being Black women in the sports industry. It's difficult. So when we're able to have these conversations, be able to call on each other just to say, what's up? How you doing? Yes, I do remember when your grandmother passed away and you cried in the locker room. And it was like, wait a minute, Rhiannon is crying. We got to go get my girl. Hold on, what's happening? And oh, and I can be a little overbearing with people. Are you okay? Are you all right? What do you need? What happened? Who did it? Who said it? Oh, wait a minute. Your grandmother died? Oh, wait a minute. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay. Now let's talk and let's grieve together. But to be able to do that is big. It's huge. And I want to also stamp, I always admire, some days, even when I'm hot, not feeling like it, I said, you know what? Rhiannon is always on. She's always on. And even when she's not on, she's on, because you build such a connection with everyone you talk to. Sometimes I can get take it or leave it with people, but you're not like that with anybody. And I always admire that about you. And I think that it's awesome and it's amazing. And it shines through your work.
Thank you.
You're always so thorough, so compassionate. And I love it. I'm not saying that just because we people.
I know, I appreciate
it. So, you all start, all of the Redskins fans watching, make sure you all are chiming in with your questions for Rhiannon, because we definitely going to get into the Redskins. So definitely chime in with your questions, and I will definitely read out all the questions that you all have. So now, this is third season, going into your third season of covering the Redskins.
I don't know if I'm even going to get to my third season the way that the COVID stuff is going.
Well, let's talk about that. Like, I have no idea how they're going to play football. I mean, we're tracking it as much as we can and seeing what the plans that the NFL is coming up with. But what are your thoughts on if we will see a football season this season?
So I have so many thoughts, more than anything else. Whatever we do, I want it to be done safely, whatever CDC guidelines or whatever who is saying. And I mean, I try to keep up with that stuff as much as possible. And quite frankly, sometimes I need to detach from it because it can be a bit overbearing and just a lot. But that's my primary concern. And I say that knowing that if there is no football, we just had layoffs at the Athletic. That's certainly at the forefront of my mind too. And selfishly, I want football to be played because it means that I can keep my job and I can do my job more than anything else. And I selfishly miss being around my colleagues. I miss being around the players. I miss being around this new coaching staff. I like the PR staff as well too. We're all the same age. So, I mean, I'm a people person. I those interactions. I miss physically going to the practices, even as hot as they are. I miss doing it. It's so much fun. I miss being around the fans, quite frankly. I enjoy training camp a great deal. I miss working with the interns who were on staff last year. One of them actually texted me maybe 2 months or so ago. He had just heard me on the radio and he reached out to me. We hadn't talked since, but he just said he really thought that I had done something very insightful. One story I was talking about, he was really happy to get to meet me and hopefully we'd see each other at training camp this year. This is before COVID had started. And that's what I mean to say is like, when I, go up to people, interact with them, we met because we're playing football with each other. I do throw a mean spiral, by the way. I grew up with a bunch, so that tomboyish situation going on there. So all time with that. I mean, I miss all of that stuff. And yeah, I want that stuff to come back. I mean, but that's selfish if we don't have the circumstances surrounding us to be able to do those things. Because while I'm healthy and I've tested negative twice the 2 times I've taken my test, that doesn't mean that there's not somebody else who doesn't have a pre-existing condition. That doesn't mean that there are fans who don't have pre-existing conditions, or there's a player that we don't know about a condition. Somebody who just died, I can't remember his name right now, who just died at ESPN last year. He had the rare disease that came up and killed him, but he had another underlying disease that was going to kill him one way or the other. I think it was like pneumonia or something like that. I just can't remember his name right now. I feel really bad about it. He died in December.
Yeah, he died in December. I remember that as well.
The point being is that he had an underlying health disease that one way or another, regardless of that other thing that came through and ended up killing him very quickly, it was hurting him silently. So I don't want people to be put in those positions where they are being exposed to the virus and they might take it back to somebody, even if they're good, they might take it back to somebody who isn't good. I think about, you see what I mean when I say I'm an empath? I think about all these things that can happen don't even have to do with me or the players or the coaching staff. That's beyond that. So I don't want anybody to go through that. I have no idea how it would have felt if I couldn't have gone to my grandmother's funeral. I don't know. It would have hurt a lot, and I don't want to do that. And I don't want other people to have to experience that kind of pain either, because I have a lot of friends who have had to bury people that they didn't get to see in the hospital, they didn't get to say goodbye to in person, they didn't get to go to the funerals because of this virus. I don't want that for anybody, and that's the worst case scenario. I just want whatever we do to be the safest thing that we're doing. So I feel torn about it. If it's safe, then bring it back, obviously.
Yep.
But if it's not, then don't force the issue. Just don't subject people to that, because there's so many variables that we can't account for. And the last thing that we want is for this to get worse or some other unforeseen horrible end game to happen. So those are my honest feelings about the entire thing.
No, and I agree with you 110%. Like you said, I mean, sports is like life. Everyone loves it, right? The fans love it, the players love it, the staff love it, we love it. Of course, there's job implications,
of course,
when it comes to sports and everything, but it's like safety first. And I'm having a hard time imagining. It's one thing to imagine, sports with fans. That's almost like out. Like I don't know how that's going to happen at all. But even with just the players and the staff and the media, you don't want anybody to get sick. You just don't want anybody to get sick. And it's hard. Of course I'm hopeful, but I want everybody to be safe. Exactly what you said is so super important. So we'll see what happens. I guess, we have to play along, I guess, and and be like, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to go forward. One question that came up from John Adams is, how challenging has it been to cover the team under these conditions?
Under COVID conditions, or what? Under
COVID conditions.
I make sure it was under the COVID conditions.
Yep.
In a sense, most of it, for the most part, not too bad, because think about off-season stuff. I mean, we wouldn't have gone to the draft more than likely. Some might argue with the number 2 pick you might, but I know I wasn't going, so that didn't affect any April plans that I had. I would have met the free agents faster. Obviously, we wouldn't have been there when they signed or anything like that, but we would have been there for the big press conference they would have had for their free agents and everything else like that. We would have met the draft prospects sooner as well too. That's one thing we would have done a bit differently. I mean, I would have, like I said, we would have been seeing our friends sooner. That's how I look at it. It would have the most interaction I would have had is with people in the media and people on the team, and would have had more chances to meet the coaching staff in person.
For sure.
So that's been the biggest change. I like face-to-face communication. I mean, Zoom calls are fine. I am a calling person. I don't like texting, which people old school thing, but I don't like texting. It's just silly. Anyway, I prefer face-to-face communication with people, and I miss hugging my colleagues. Like when we see each other, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Jokes that we have when we're in the annex. I miss seeing the players. I even miss some of the players teasing me about how I always wear Timbs all the time. That's some.
Yeah.
But there's just some stuff. There's some you just make better contact with people. Have, I think, sometimes more meaningful interactions with people when you're in person with them. So I prefer face-to-face communication, and that's been the biggest change up, is that we haven't gone to the OTAs practice. We didn't do rookie mini camp. We didn't do veteran mandatory mini camp. So organized training activities, excuse me, that was the one I wanted actually. So I think there would have been like 9 practices we probably would have gone to and everything else like that. It's making good connections with players, people, and anybody in between is all about being there in person with them as many times as you possibly can, because they get to learn a little bit about you. You get to learn a little bit about them. Like I said, there are players on the team that tease me about the fact I always wear Timbs.
Right.
It's a calling card. What can I say? They match every Sorry, I'm a woman with simple means, so it is what it is. That's what I mean when I say so. They joke with me. They see how I handle it. I joke with them. It's just like anything else. You have impactful interactions when you are in person with people. Things play out different.
Yeah, for sure. Now, like you said, we're missing the opportunity to really engage with this coaching staff. How do you feel so far about the new coaching staff and just the difference between the previous years, in recent years, and this coaching staff?
I feel about this. So how do I feel about this coaching staff versus previous coaching staffs? So I only had coaching staffs that I've ever covered.
True.
I don't have this is true. I'm a novice. Like, for instance, I get docked for my credit history not being long enough. So, I mean, I guess one thing about me, I always get my jokes off. I think I said that in my bio in The Athletic. I will tell these jokes, but
you're going to get all these jokes.
All of these jokes. I like Ron's staff a ton. I mean, first of all, there were members of Jay's staff that I really liked. I loved talking to Bill Callahan. I loved getting, like, before he became the interim head coach, he did an interview with me, and he was one of the 3 coaches on the staff that this staff was, they never do interviews. It was Thomas Sula, Ray Horton, and is Bill Callahan. So I actually, when I went to talk to him, I asked for the assistant offensive line coach, because it was known that he doesn't really do the interviews. And then the staff came and they said, "Oh no, you're actually going to talk to Bill." And I said, "Wait, what?" So that was great. When I talked to Ray Horton, he was another one. I actually ended up talking to him, and it was fantastic. And there were a lot of good people on that staff that I enjoyed talking to. I actually got to know a good deal of them, because some of you guys would know I would do Q&As with the coaching staff as related to certain important positional groups for the upcoming matchup and stuff like that. Yep. So Nate Castor, I love Nate. Love talking to Nate. He is so nice and so fun. And all of them would just take the time to talk in detail about stuff. Randy Jordan was the first assistant coach that I actually started talking to. As a matter of fact, I talked to him about the fact that he was running not stride for stride with Adrian Peterson against the Giants at the 4-yard touchdown, I think it was, in the 4th quarter. And they won 20 to, what was it? Oh, I forget the score of that one. It wasn't 20 to 13, but it was like some close game. But basically, they played the Giants my first season, 2018, in MetLife, and Randy is running along the sideline. I saw him, and I said, "Randy, can I talk to you about that run?" And I think it was a 2-minute interview, but I got a 500-word story out of that bad boy. And it did. So I liked a lot of members of the previous staff, and Nate and Randy are on this current staff as well too. But Ron is great. I love blunt people. I do. As some Vivitas, like, I'm very fun and free and stuff. Like, you tell him I like bluntness. I like honesty. Let's get to the point. Like, but getting to the point is the best plan of action for your girl. So I like it's very direct and very honest and forthcoming. I even like how he jokes, because there's a point at the combine where I asked him about the the strengths and weaknesses of the team. Like, they had identified him, and he gave me an answer, but I was like, "So are you going to tell us the position groups that you think are the strengths and the weaknesses?" He's like, "Oh, you realize I didn't answer that, did you?" I was like, I did. Like, I thought I got it by you. I was like, you didn't. He wouldn't answer. He's like, I think we'll keep that in house. I like to joke as well, just to get to the point. So I like the diversity here. I like Jack Del Rio's intensity about stuff. I mean, he's the coolest defensive coordinator I've worked with, and it's covering this team. I've only worked with two, but then like my entire career of working with people, it's a lot larger than that. So I mean, I enjoyed all of that stuff. I like this group of coaches, and I like what I've heard from my colleagues about these guys as well too. Scouting combine, people were nice. I mean, if you talk to one, you talk to another. Jennifer King introduced me to Richard Rogers Sr. He's the assistant defensive coach, and he was really, really nice to me. I think his nickname is Rock. Yes, Rock. And so I talked to him for a little bit. I'm not an awkward person. It's very hard to be awkward with me, but there's no awkwardness. It's just jokes. One of the first things that Scott Turner, when we had our call with him, you may remember, but music started playing at first, and he made a joke about it, and it was like, anybody want to acknowledge the fact that there's music playing on the call right now? And it made light of it, and it was good. I like when people aren't always serious, and enjoyed this group. I've enjoyed talking to Kyle as well too. Kyle Smith, the vice president of player personnel. I've enjoyed talking to him more as well, because last year, one of the major differences, I've talked about this a little bit, is the fact that we didn't actually have much conversation with the leadership the last 2 years versus this year.
Right.
Kyle, in this one season as the VP of player personnel, has talked to us more than we had with Bruce Allen in 2018-19 together.
Yep.
So that's how I feel that there were some guys I really enjoyed working with Jay's staff, and I'm extremely excited. That's the other thing. I wish we had more time to get to know Ron's staff and see what they're like at practices and stuff like that. Works. I mean, again, Randy is, I'm near him all the time when he's running through his drills. He is funny, guys. You get to see a lot of people's personality when they're going through these things, and that's valuable too, more so sometimes than just talking to people. You see really a lot of who people are when you're not talking to them.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure. And I got to shout out Darrell Owens, owner of Legacy Maker Sports Network, one of our colleagues. He said, "Hey ladies," he was saying what's up to us. So we got to say what's up to Darrell. Used to call him Daryl for the longest time, and he was like, "My name is Darrell." Oh, I didn't know. My bad.
Darrell.
Exactly. So let me move on to we've talked about, we've laid out the new coaching staff. Of course, there's a lot of talk about Dwayne Haskins and his coming into his second year. What are your thoughts, and what are you looking forward to in terms of the growth and what we can expect to see, or what you expect to see from Dwayne Haskins going into year two?
So I was always very curious about the fact that he started to improve in the last few games, how he changed as a player and a person. I don't believe you were at the Meadowlands when he played that game. He was his first.
I wasn't in the Meadowlands. So I was at the Mystics game.
Okay. So the first game, he was inserted in the second half of the Giants game. He didn't play well. Obviously, we know that they lost the game. Well, his first media appearance, he came up and he's tapping the side of the podium like consistently. And I'm, again, part of what I do is I pay attention to the nonverbal things that people say. So even without him saying it, whether he would have acknowledged himself, he was nervous, which is a reasonable thing for a 22-year-old to be the first time that you're addressing the media after playing your first NFL game and it didn't go well. That's normal. And that's something I think sometimes people forget about these guys, is that they're human beings with real emotions and real daily things that they go through outside of playing in the NFL. And so I don't want to think this sound like I'm happy he was nervous. It's like, it's cool to see someone be nervous like that, have those real emotions in real time and things of that nature. And he vowed and he's like, you guys should get used to seeing me up here. It's like, and you guys should get used to seeing me smile. He did like the thing with the smile. I was like, you didn't know what to do with yourself there. You like when you're playing basketball and you get in midair and you try to throw a pass and you really can't your guy and you're just like, So from that day to when he started to actually start, his level of confidence grew and got better and better and better, just with more practice, even if he didn't have good games, because he didn't really start to have good games until the latter part of the season. But just getting more comfortable going through the reps and blocking out the noise, because again, he's 22 years old. He is in NFL, and there's expectation he's got to put up with a lot of stuff being said about him. That's a part of the gig. You get it because you're a public figure. Just stuff about his intelligence and his ability to retain information. Again, those are tropes that they usually say about Black quarterbacks. And I just came from a website where I wrote all about that for 2.5 years. So I was very aware of that stuff. Or even when people said that it's a red flag, he went out and bought a Bentley truck, even though it was I believe he was a 4.0 student at Ohio State. He was definitely a 4.0 student at Bullis. Constantly people talked about his good character, never having an issue with the police, things like that. You just watch him ignore it, avoid it, because it's a pitfall that people could fall into. It is something that you can do. But he did that over time as he got more comfortable in the offense. And also the fact that Kevin O'Connell, the offensive coordinator, he changed the offense to match what Dwayne was good at. That was really, really important in his development, because they were very run heavy, which is in line with what Bill Callahan's philosophy was as the interim head coach. But they went to those more quick passes. I mean, you remember, I think it was, 70-something yard, 75-something yard touchdown that Terry McLaurin had against the Philadelphia Eagles when they came to town. It just ran easy, quick, one out. And I think it was three step and go.
Yep.
Being is that the offense started to cater more toward Dwayne's skill set and those of the other players on the offense. And you started to see success, right? And so he had those 4 games where he didn't have the interceptions. He had the high quarterback rating. He had a high percentage of completions and touchdowns and things of that nature. And that's what you believed he was capable of once he got comfortable. But it took a while because he wasn't getting those starter reps. He was splitting reps with 3 quarterbacks throughout training camp. And then over time, he became the starter. You started to get those reps and you started to see that difference. So with year 2, what I'm expecting to see is that just like, it's not the same, but just to say that what I was like my first season covering the team versus once I had a full off season where you get to go to the Senior Bowl, you get to go to the scouting combine, you get to meet people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. You go through free agency period, you go through the draft, you go through the rookie mini camps and stuff like that. That made a huge difference because you're around people that can help you. Players can get to know you better. Those relationships that I developed after my first off season, that rhythm, that cadence I had, that helped me go into my second season and have a much better second season. So similar with him, it's that you have this off season, you have this time where you don't have to worry about going through draft interviews. You don't have to worry about going through those workouts. You don't have to worry about going through those interviews. Now you can fully focus on your craft. You are going to be in a QB competition with Kyle Allen. You know that. But you have a year advantage here working with these guys. So he's working with Kelvin Harmon. He's working with Steven Sims. He's working with Terry McLaurin. You're getting that rhythm and that cadence down with your guys, even though, of course, he played with Terry at Ohio State. You've got these that are coming into play. That's going to be a benefit, or it should be a benefit. And if all that stuff pays off, then you should see him continue the trend from the last 4 games of last season into the 2020 season. They play the games, right? That's what I'm looking for. Can you carry the momentum that you had at the end of last year with a strong offseason? He's lost 17 pounds, I believe. So that was another thing people talked about is his body weight. You know, they said he had a lot of baby fat on him. He's slimmed down. How will that help you become a better quarterback? Now you've had a full offseason to also study this. You have a new offensive coordinator. You're starting from scratch. How can you do those things? He's already stepped up in Ron Rivera's eyes in terms of answering the bell, in terms of maturity, being a leader of the team. Can you just put that down on the field then? They say he's done everything else up to this point, but can you play up to what you have done in the offseason on the field? If so, this is going to be a lot of fun, I believe.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree. I'm expecting great things from Dwayne. Everything you said, spot on. He's doing all the right things. I jokingly call him Slim Haskins.
That's the next time I see him. He's the main one who gets on me about my Tims. And it's funny. I have these OVO 8s that I got, in 2018. So I wore them in the locker room one day. So it switched up from Tim's because I do have nice shoes. I just don't wear them very often. And he's talking about them, this, that, and the third, like, oh, those are the 8s, da, 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 da. He's going around the locker room like, oh, what shoes are those? Because I was like, okay, so what shoes are these then?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's a sneakerhead. So I'm like, all right, what shoes? And you're Jordan rep. So what shoes am I wearing? He's like, well, yeah, but what kind of 8s? And he said something. And I was like, these are the OVOs. He's like, those are not the OVOs. I was like, you want to see the owl? I took the shoe off and showed him the owl.
Yep.
Fix to the locker room if I could. I said, hey, baby, if you're going to come for the king, you best not miss.
Y'all tell him I said, call him Slim Haskins. That's
right.
Slim Haskins.
What's up, Slim? That's a DC thing too, Slim. What's up, Slim?
Yeah, Slim Haskins.
You got it. You right.
Exactly. He's Slim Haskins. So look, 2 quick questions before we close out. Any word on Bryce Love's status? I had not heard anything other than he was still rehabbing and they'll see where he is. That's all.
That's the difference with this staff. I have to give him credit. And as a journalist, is like, I want them to leak more information, but I haven't gotten a lot of leaks on that one.
Yep, I got a lot of leaks on that one.
They have been very much Fort Knoxy on this one. And
they have.
The sportsmanship at some level, but on the other level, there's so much information I want to get out of them, and I'm not getting it.
No, you called it right. Fort Knox. If there's one thing we can attest to, it's ain't no leaks getting out of this building. They are running a tight ship over there. They're not playing with the leaks.
Impressive. The captain of the ship is doing a great job. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna hate here. I gotta give props. Good job. Gotta give props.
And then the next question before we close out is Chase Young. Do you think, this is from fan Cameron Mingo. The last question was from Mazdak. From Cameron Mingo, he wants to know, do you think Chase Young will break the NFL rookie sack record?
Okay, I don't know that one off the top of my head. What is the record?
It's 14. It's like 14 and a half sacks.
Wow, I had 8 in my head. Jeez, Monini.
I had a lower number too. I had to go check myself. I said 14 and a half. That's a lot. Is that right? From like 99. It was like over 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. I don't know. I don't even remember that name.
All right, now I'm going to go look that up and I'm going to have a great cocktail.
Yeah, look it up and text me or call me if you don't like the text.
So, 14 and a half?
That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
Let me be clear. It's not that I don't think that he couldn't do it, considering saying about him and seeing what Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa did respectively. It's that part of the reason that a lot of the reason that they're bringing him in is because of the 49ers effect, and he opened it up for all the other players. So I personally think there's not going to be enough sacks to go around, quite frankly. If he's opening it up for a John Payne or a Matt Ioannidis or a Montez Sweat or Ryan Kerrigan or Ryan Anderson or whoever else comes in on a blitz. No, I don't think, he even said it himself. He doesn't care about sacks. They're not the most important statistic to him, because he's like, look at all my run stops. Look at the times that I opened it up for other guys. The Wisconsin game that everybody seems to want to ignore. Clemson game too, while we're at it. I'm just about there. I just think that there's far too much talent on that defensive line, and he is going to create havoc if he does what he's supposed to do. And I have faith that he will, considering the other people they have in place. I just don't think there's enough quarterbacks going around to go sack.
Everybody getting a sack. You get a sack. You get a sack. They all do. And Sherrod said he think it was Curse. I think so too. Jarvis Curse?
Jarvis Curse or Curse for the Philadelphia?
I know it was in the 90s. It was in the late 90s. It was like 99.
We sure it's not Javon Curse? I don't know. I'll look it up. I'm sorry. Okay. History fact. I'm sorry. I think in 99 I was 6. So 85 record was broken. So
listen, Rhiannon, I know you said I don't have to thank you.
You don't. I know where you're going.
Thank you. I can't wait to do this again with you. And I hope I can see you soon. And hopefully it's at the point where we can hug and do all that, because we hug. We enjoy each other's company, and I miss you too. Just so you know, I miss you.
We live near each other, so we
live near each other, so we really don't have an excuse. We got to do better.
But we were going to go out until COVID happened.
Yeah, we had it all planned, and because remember we were going to even do March Madness stuff. We were going okay, we going out, we doing this, and COVID.
COVID, man, COVID.
Right.
Out. At this point, I'm used to being inside the house. It's like, all right, whatever. But
right.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Shout out to everybody that watched the show tonight. Rhiannon, let everybody know where they can follow you and find all your information online.
I just want to say thank you all for tuning in and listening to me and my dad jokes. I appreciate that more than you'll ever know.
They were good. You know, I laugh at anything, but you're funny.
This is as close to stand-up comedian as I'll ever be. And I think my mom is happy for that reason. So my social media is Instant Replay, and play on words. Replay is spelled RHI play because my first name is Rhiannon. So have it. That's all my social media. Instant Replay, kept it simple. You got it. Follow your girl, tweet at your girl, talk to your girl, you know, because your girl's lonely inside the house all the time. So, you know, we out here looking for conversation about sports and things of that nature. Miss talking about it a little bit. So just let me know.
Yeah. So we'll keep you on the list. I'll be like, Ree, can you come back on the show? Let's talk sports, especially if we can't see each other in person, and we're going to have to find more opportunities to get on here and talk. I'm
with it. I'm absolutely with it. Just call me, beat me when you want to reach me. When you want to reach me, it's okay. You remember Kim Possible? Did you watch Kim Possible? I could have kept going the whole song if you.
Oh my gosh. Well, CWall, Culture from the Couch viewers, you all have a great night. I will see you guys next week.